John 21. When people want to say, how do you know the Bible's true? Give them this, okay? All right. John 21. Jesus is resurrected from the dead. Jesus is resurrected. All right. And let's read verse 1. After these things, Jesus showed himself again to the disciples at the Sea of Tiberias, and on this wise showed he himself. I'm still talking about baptism and being sevened, or being sevened. There were together Simon Peter and Thomas called Didymus and Nathanael of Cana in Galilee and the sons of Zebedee and 2 other disciples. Simon Peter saith unto them, I'm going fishing. They say unto him, we also go with thee. They went forth and entered into a ship immediately, and that night they caught nothing. But when the morning was now come, Jesus stood on the shore, but the disciples knew not that it was Jesus. Then Jesus saith unto them, children, have you any meat? And they answered him, no. And he said unto them, cast the net on the right side of the ship, and ye shall find. And they cast therefore, and now they were not able to draw it for the multitude of fishes. Well, I like that word draw. Helko. John 6:44. No man can come to me, predestination, except my Father which has sent me drag him in. Same word as dragging in the fishes here. You can't come to God on your own. There's none that seeketh after God. God has to preordain a man to eternal life. And if he don't drag you in and pull you in with the truth and make you hungry for the truth, and you don't want the truth, you don't belong to God. And you're wasting your time listening to me. Like that. And when Jesus said, and I, if I be lifted up, I will draw all men unto me. Helko. I will drag men from every nation, tongue, and tribe. Now, let's get back to the fish, okay? They were not able to drag in it for a multitude of fish, but God, they didn't have a free will to drag in. It didn't matter. They thought it was too heavy, but it's never too heavy for God to drag in the elect, and this is a picture of the elect. Therefore that disciple whom Jesus loved saith unto Peter, it is the Lord. Now when Simon Peter heard that it was the Lord, he girt his fisher's coat unto him, for he was naked, and did cast himself into the sea. And the other disciples came in a little ship, for they were not far from land, but as it were 200 cubits, dragging the net with fishes. As soon then as they were come to land, they saw a fire of coals there, and fish laid thereon, and bread. And Jesus said unto them, bring of the fish which ye have now caught. Remember the heir, joint heirs? 7 times 153. Simon Peter went up and drew the net to the land full of great fishes, 153 fish. And for all there were so many, yet was not the net broken. 153 fish. Let's look and see how many people are fishing in verse 2. There were together Simon Peter, 1. Thomas, 2, called Didymus. Nathanael, 3, of Cana in Galilee. The sons of Zebedee, who are they? Sons of thunder. James and John, 5, and 2 other of his disciples. 7 were fishing that day, and they caught 153 fish. Was that accident? People say, I don't believe in predestination. You're an idiot. You don't believe in the ordination of God? You're out of your mind. Boy, I like that, don't y'all? Wait a minute. Let me give you something else here on that. Just astounding to me. How can men say this? Now, isn't the church the bread? Go to John 6. John 6. Is the church is the bread, right? 1 Corinthians 10:17. We, being many, are one bread and one body. Oh, by the way, did you know that there are 153 miracles recorded in the New Testament? Did you know that the word sons of God in the Old Testament Hebrew adds up to 153, and it's mentioned 7 times in the Old Testament? Do you think God just bumped into this stuff? We're talking about a God that has arranged everything, the numbers. Predestination is just the first grade, folks. When you get into these numbers, it is utterly astounding. Now look here in John 6 and verse 9. There is a lad here which hath 5 barley loaves and 2 small fishes. What are they among so many? Now the loaves were the bread, weren't they? Look at 1 Corinthians. Look at 1 Corinthians. Hold your place there with the loaves. 1 Corinthians 10. 17. Paul is talking to the Corinthian church. For we being many are one bread and one body. The bread is the body, isn't it? The bread is also the flesh. The flesh is the veil. I don't have time to go back there. We are one bread and one body. What is the body? The body's the bread, isn't it? Look at Colossians, the 1st chapter. Colossians, the 1st chapter. You know, if I had to study the Bible like these boring Baptist preachers and Church of Christ preachers and Pentecostal preachers, the Bible would be boring to me too. I'd go to sleep listening to one of those guys preach. In fact, I used to. And you ever sit in one of those churches going, trying to keep your eyes awake? Because the guy was humming, going, it sounded like some Indian around some campfire. Look here. Now, the bread is the body, right? Colossians 1:18. He is the head of the body, the church. So the bread is the church, isn't it? The bread's the church. Down here in verse 24, last phrase, for his body's sake, which is the church. So the body is the bread. It is the church, isn't it? And that's us. The church is not a building. Ecclesia is the word church. Ecclesia. That's the word church. Called out. K-A-L-E-O. To call out. We're called out of this world. We are the fish, aren't we? We're the bread, the body, the church. We're the heirs of God, joint heirs. We're the joint fish. All right, now, where was I? Let's go back over here to the loaves. Let me give you the gematria on the word loaves. Can I do that? I'm going to do it anyway. Okay, I like this. I love this stuff. So the loaf is the bread, isn't it? That's the church. But the church is the joint heirs, isn't it? Huh? And we have to be 7. All right. All right, here's the word loaves. The word is artus. The alpha, the rho, the tau, the omicron, the upsilon, and the sigma. The alpha is 1. The rho is 100. The tau is 300. The omicron is 70, the upsilon is 400, and the sigma is 200. I wonder what that adds up to.
1071.
That's right. Now, I'll give you something else about the 153 in just a minute, okay? Artus, A-R-T-O-U-S. That is the word loaves. Now, you got to remember, before these events are happening, 800 years before these events are happening, this alphabet was being created with these numerical values. So God is taking this alphabet and creating events. He is the most fantastic mathematician that's ever existed. What amazes me is when you do calculus, you plot a curve. And God has, just astounds me, Ahab was trying to hide in battle there in the 22nd chapter of 1 Kings. He's trying to hide in battle, and he goes down to southern Judah, and he gets Jehoshaphat. Now, Jehoshaphat's a real good guy. He loves God. He reads the Bible all over Israel, but he's got one problem. He runs around with Ahab. You run around with the wrong people, you get dirty. Well, they go to battle against Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria, and Ahab says, I got to get a prophet to prophesy. So they go to this Micaiah. Micaiah says, you go into battle, Israel will be out of shepherd. Ahab said, Jehoshaphat, I told you he don't like me. He says bad things about me all the time. I want another prophet. God says, who will be a lying spirit in the mouth of these priests of Baal? And one spirit of the Lord steps forward and says, I will be a lying spirit. I'll get Ahab into battle. Now that's predestination. I'll get him into battle. And so Ahab gets with Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat didn't have no business going to battle with Ahab. This guy's a pagan. He's married to Jezebel. And they got the daughter of hell for a daughter, Athaliah. Well, Ahab says, I know what we'll do. Now here's calculus. This is God creating calculus. Ahab said, I'll trade outfits with you. You put on my clothes and I'll put on yours, and they won't be able to find me. But God can find you. So Ahab these Syrians, they get in battle and they see a man dressed up like the king of northern Israel. This is southern Israel. This is northern Israel. Southern Judah is southern Israel. Well, the Ben-Hadad Syrians come up on Jehoshaphat and say, this is not Ahab. We don't want you. They don't even kill Jehoshaphat. Say, we're not interested in killing you. Where's Ahab? And God causes a man to draw a bow at a venture, pull it back, and fire it into the air. And the arrow is going at a certain speed and making a certain trajectory. And Ahab is in a chariot headed this way. Catches him right between the harness. That's what you call creating calculus. Do you think God? He had to have that chariot going at exactly the right speed. He had to have that man standing in an exact spot with a certain amount of pounds pulled back on that bow, and it had to go at a certain rate to catch Ahab right between the harness.